The alarm blared across the bridge of the U.S. Defiant. Commander Ella Rogers looked up from her datapad and frowned. The ship's sensors had picked up something unusual at the edge of human space. "What do we have, Sam?" she asked. Lieutenant Sam Wright's fingers moved quickly across his console. His face turned pale as he studied the readings. "Commander, we're getting a distress call from Outpost 42. The mining colony is under attack." Ella stood up and walked to the main view screen. "Show me." The screen flickered to life. A tired-looking man with blood on his face appeared. Behind him, people ran in panic as the walls shook. "This is Outpost 42. We are under attack by unknown forces. Hundreds, no, thousands of ships just appeared. There." The transmission cut off in static. "Get him back," Ella ordered. Sam shook his head. "I can't. The signal is gone." Chief Engineer Alan Carver entered the bridge, his uniform stained with engine oil. "Commander, you need to see these readings. Our long-range scanners are picking up something massive headed toward Earth." Ella looked at the data and felt her blood run cold. The scanner showed not hundreds, not thousands, but hundreds of thousands of unknown ships moving as one great mass through space. "How long until they reach Earth?" she asked. "At their current speed, 2 weeks," Alan replied. Ella tapped her communication badge. "Dr. Bennett to the bridge, please." Minutes later, Dr. Olivia Bennett arrived. Her eyes widened as she saw the scanner data. "What are we looking at, Doctor?" Ella asked. "I've never seen anything like this," Olivia said. "The ships appear to move like insects in a swarm. They seem to share one mind." The communication console beeped. Admiral Jones of Earth Command appeared on screen. "Commander Rogers, we've received your data. All Earth ships are ordered to fall back and protect the home system." Ella stepped forward. "Sir, with respect, by the time they reach Earth, it will be too late. The Defiant can intercept them in 5 days. We need to learn what we're facing." The Admiral frowned. "This is not a request, Commander. It's an order. Fall back to Earth." "Sir, if we wait, Earth won't stand a chance. We need information now. Your ship against an armada. That's suicide, Rogers." Ella stood tall. "The Defiant is the most advanced ship in the fleet. We can stay hidden, gather intelligence, and maybe find a weakness." After the call ended with the Admiral still ordering a retreat, Ella looked at her bridge crew. "I'm not forcing anyone to come on this mission. This goes against direct orders. I'll take full blame." Sam stood first. "I'm with you, Commander." Ella nodded. "The Defiant has systems we haven't even tested yet. If anyone can do this, we can." Dr. Bennett smiled slightly. "I need to study these beings. Count me in." Ella looked around at the faces of her 250 crew members as they voiced their support. She felt pride, but also fear for what she was asking them to risk. Later, alone in her quarters, Ella recorded in her personal log, "We leave for the edge of known space tomorrow. Earth Command still doesn't know I've chosen to disobey orders. Maybe they'll call this decision treason. Maybe they'll call it suicide. But if those ships reach Earth unprepared, there won't be anyone left to judge my actions. The Defiant might be just one ship against an army of aliens, but sometimes one is all you need." As the Defiant changed course toward the oncoming alien swarm, Ella watched the stars streak by her window. She thought of Earth, of her home in the green hills of the western countryside, and of all the people who would never know how close danger was. She made a silent promise to them all. She would not let humanity fall without a fight. 5 days of tense travel brought the U.S. Defiant to the edge of the alien armada. Ella ordered the ship to activate its stealth field, a new technology that bent light around the vessel, making it nearly invisible. "Hold position here," Ella said as the crew watched the main screen in silence. Before them floated the remains of Outpost 42. The mining station was torn apart, pieces of metal and rock drifting in the emptiness of space. But what made everyone on the bridge hold their breath was the sight beyond the wreckage. Ships, countless ships. They filled the view screen like stars in the night sky. Small fighter craft surrounded larger vessels. Behind them were ships the size of small moons. "My God," Sam whispered. The scanners weren't wrong. There must be hundreds of thousands of them. Ella turned to Dr. Bennett. "I need answers. What are they doing to the outpost?" Olivia studied her readings. "They appear to be harvesting, breaking down the metals and minerals. But there's something else." Her voice grew tense. "They're also collecting biological material, human remains." A heavy silence fell over the bridge. "Can we get closer?" Ella asked Alan. "Without being seen." Alan nodded slowly. The stealth field should hold, but one wrong move and we're noticed. For the next 12 hours, the Defiant carefully moved closer to the alien ships. Dr. Bennett collected data while Alan studied the aliens' energy signatures. "Commander," Alan called from his station, "I found something odd. All these ships seem connected by some kind of energy web. It's like they're all parts of one bigger machine." Sam worked at his console, his face lit by blue light. "I've been trying to crack their communication. It's not language as we know it. More like a shared thought." He looked up. "They call themselves the Swarm. And they call us prey." Ella felt a chill run down her spine. "So this is not just an invasion." "No," Sam confirmed. "It's an extinction." Dr. Bennett joined them, her eyes wide with discovery. The swarm ships aren't just connected. They're partly biological. They grow their ships using harvested materials and DNA. That's why there are so many. Ellen pointed to his screen. "Look here. The energy flows from these smaller ships to these larger ones, and from there to these 5 massive ships at the center." He turned to Ella. "It's like a brain with a nervous system. Cut off the brain, and the body dies." Ella finished his thought. Later that day, Ella approved a dangerous mission. Using a small probe disguised with the stealth technology, they sent it deeper into the swarm's formation to gather more data. When the probe returned, the information it carried gave them their first real hope. The swarm's hive mind is their strength, but it could also be their weakness. Alan explained to the gathered officers. "Their ships are dependent on constant communication. If we could disrupt that signal with the right frequency, we might be able to confuse them or even shut them down." "How do we find the right frequency?" Ella asked. "That's the hard part," Alan admitted. "We'd need to get very close to one of those 5 command ships. And even then, it would take enormous power to broadcast a signal that could affect so many ships." Ella looked at the tactical display showing Earth's position relative to the swarm. "We have no way to warn Earth. Communications are jammed by the swarm's own signals. We're on our own." She stood and faced her crew. "What we've learned here changes everything. We know what they are. We know what they want. And now we might know how to stop them." She looked at each face in turn. "I need options. How do we turn their hive mind against them?" As her crew began to work on the problem, Ella walked to the window of her ready room. In the distance, the lights of thousands of alien ships glowed like a deadly galaxy. One human ship against an armada. The odds seemed impossible. But now, at least, they had a chance. The officers of the U.S. Defiant gathered around the round table in the meeting room. The mood was tense. On the screen before them, images of the swarm fleet played in a loop. Ella watched her crew's faces as they studied the enemy. "We've been here 3 days," Ella said. "In that time, the swarm has destroyed 2 more outposts. They're moving toward Earth faster than we thought. We need a plan now." Alan stood up and touched the screen. It changed to show the inside of the Defiant's engine room. At its center glowed a bright blue core. "Our ship has something no other human vessel has. An experimental quantum core," Alan explained. "It was meant to be tested next year, but it's working now." "How does that help us?" Sam asked. "The quantum core creates special energy fields. If I modify it, we could make a pulse that would disrupt the swarm's hive mind network. Helen looked at Ella. But there's a catch. We would need to get very close to one of their 5 command ships. Dr. Bennett shook her head. That's suicide. We'd have to fly straight through the heart of their fleet. There's more, Alan said quietly. The pulse might damage our ship too. I can't promise we'd survive setting it off. Silence fell over the room. Ella looked at her officers, then at the images of the swarm. So our choices are, try to run back to Earth, knowing we'd lead them straight there, or fly into the middle of the enemy and probably die while setting off a weapon that might not even work. Sam nodded grimly. That about sums it up, Commander. Ella stood. I won't order anyone to do this. We'll vote. But first, I want you all to understand what's at stake. She pressed a button on the table. The screen changed to show Earth, blue and peaceful. Everything and everyone we've ever known is there. If the swarm reaches Earth, there will be no survivors, no second chances. This might be humanity's last hope. One by one, the officers voted. One by one, they chose to fight. Later, in her quarters, Ella recorded what might be her final log entry. She sat before the small camera, her face tired but determined. This is Commander Ella Rogers of the U.S. Defiant. If anyone finds this message, know that we made our choice freely. Earth might never know what happened to us. They might think we ran away or were destroyed. The truth is, we're about to attempt something that has almost no chance of success. She paused, looking at a small photo of her family on her desk. In 8 hours, we will modify our quantum core to create a disruption pulse. Then we will navigate into the center of the swarm fleet to one of their command ships. If our theory is correct, the pulse will spread through their network and disrupt their hive mind. I've given every crew member the chance to leave on escape pods with copies of our data. None have chosen to go. She smiled slightly. I have never been prouder to serve with such brave people. Ella looked directly into the camera. If we fail, Earth must know what they're facing. The swarm is not just an invasion force. They harvest worlds, and all life on them. They are connected through a hive mind centered in 5 command ships. If Earth can find a way to attack those ships, they might have a chance. She reached to turn off the recording, then stopped. One last thing. If we don't return, tell our families we did this for them. So they could live. So humanity could survive. Her voice grew stronger. And if we do somehow succeed, remember this. Never underestimate what one ship and one crew can do when everything they love is at stake. Ella ended the recording. Then she stood, straightened her uniform, and walked to the bridge to prepare for the most dangerous mission of her life. The U.S. Defiant moved silently through space, its stealth field active. On the bridge, the crew worked with quiet focus. Ella stood in the center, watching the tactical display showing the edge of the swarm fleet. All stations ready, she asked. Weapons ready, Sam reported. Engines at full power, Alan confirmed from engineering. Ella took a deep breath. Begin attack pattern Alpha. Target the outer ships and fire on my mark. This would be their first direct attack against the swarm. The plan was simple but dangerous. Hit fast, hit hard, and run before the main fleet could respond. They needed to test the swarm's reactions. 3, 2, 1, mark. The Defiant's weapons fired. Bright beams cut through space, striking 3 alien ships. The vessels exploded in silent bursts of light. Second wave, fire, Ella ordered. More alien ships burst apart. For a moment, there was no response from the swarm. They're confused, Sam said, watching his readings. The nearby ships are sending signals but don't know where to look. Keep firing, Ella commanded. The Defiant moved in a tight pattern, striking and moving, striking and moving. 20 alien ships were destroyed, then 40. Suddenly, the tactical display lit up with movement. Hundreds of swarm ships began to change course. They'd found us, Sam warned. They're changing their pattern. Ella nodded. As expected. Begin retreat pattern. Let's see how they follow. The Defiant turned and accelerated away from the swarm. Behind them, the alien ships followed in a predictable formation. They move like insects, Dr. Bennett observed, all following the same rules. The ship shook as energy beams from the swarm struck their shields. Shields at 80%, Sam reported. Increase speed, Ella ordered. Alan, how's the quantum core modification coming? Alan's voice came through the comm system. Progress is slow. The energy patterns are complex. I need more time. The ship rocked again, harder this time. Shields at 60%, Sam called out. Ella made a quick decision. Change course to Sector 117. Head for the nebula. The Defiant banked sharply, speeding toward a distant cloud of gas and dust. The swarm followed, their ship still firing. Dr. Bennett, what have you learned from their attack patterns? Ella asked. Olivia studied her screen. They're efficient, but not creative. They follow set patterns. And look here. She pointed to energy readings. Their ships have biological components. They might be sensitive to certain frequencies, just like living tissue. Another hit rocked the ship. A console exploded, throwing a crew member to the floor. Medical staff rushed to help. Shields at 40%, Sam reported. We can't take much more of this. Almost to the nebula, the pilot announced. The ship shuddered violently. Alarm sounds filled the bridge. Direct hit to Engine 2, Alan reported, his voice urgent. We've lost 20% thrust capability. Get us into that nebula, Ella ordered. The Defiant limped into the colorful gas cloud. The dense particles disrupted sensors on both sides. The swarm ships slowed, seemingly confused. They're having trouble tracking us, Sam said. Good. Hide us in the densest part, Ella commanded. As the ship moved deeper into the nebula, the pursuit faded. Ella ordered damage reports from all sections. The news wasn't good. 12 crew members injured, 3 critically. Engine 2 severely damaged. Multiple systems failing. Alan arrived on the bridge, his uniform stained with smoke and oil. How long to repair the engine? Ella asked. At least 10 hours, he replied. But I've made a breakthrough with the quantum core. Dr. Bennett's data about their biological components gave me an idea. If we tuned the pulse to the right frequency, we could affect both their mechanical and biological systems at once. Ella nodded. Then we have 10 hours to prepare before we head back out there. She looked at the tactical display, where thousands of red dots represented the swarm ships still searching for them. We hurt them today, she told her crew. Not much, but enough to know they can be hurt. Next time, we'll hit them where it really matters. The nebula's colorful gases swirled outside the ship windows. Inside the U.S. Defiant, repair crews worked nonstop. Ella walked through the halls, checking on her people. Many were tired, some were scared, but all were determined. In the medical bay, Dr. Bennett treated the injured. She looked up as Ella entered. Commander, we have a problem, Olivia said quietly. Our sensors just picked up a small swarm ship. It's inside the nebula and searching for us. Ella frowned. If it finds us and reports back, we'll have the whole fleet on top of us. I have an idea, Olivia replied. Instead of destroying it, what if we capture it? I could study their technology up close. It was a risky plan, but Ella approved it. The Defiant carefully tracked the lone scout ship. When it came close, they used the tractor beam to pull it into their cargo bay. A team in protective suits secured the alien vessel. It was small, about the size of a shuttle, with a smooth surface that seemed to pulse slightly. It's partly alive, Dr. Bennett reported as she scanned it. And there's a control system I might be able to connect with. Be careful, Ella warned. Olivia nodded as she prepared to interface with the alien technology. They had created a safe room with thick walls around the captured ship. She would go in alone, with the ability to seal off the area if anything went wrong. Hours passed. The crew waited anxiously. Finally, Dr. Bennett emerged from the room, looking tired but excited. "I was right," she told Ella and the others. "The swarm operates from a central consciousness housed in those 5 command ships we saw. Their ships are grown, not built. That's why there are so many. They reproduce like cells dividing." "Did you learn anything else?" Ella asked. "Yes, the swarm fears individual thought. Their whole existence is based on being part of the collective. Our plan to disrupt their network should work, but we need to get much closer to the command ships than we thought." Meanwhile, Alan reported from engineering. "The quantum core is ready, but we have a new problem. Our main engines are more damaged than we realized. Full repairs would take days we don't have." Ella called her officers together to discuss their options. The situation looked grim. "Even with the stealth field, we can't get close enough to the command ships," Ella said. "Not with damaged engines. They'll detect us and swarm us before we can activate the pulse." Sam, who had been quiet, finally spoke up. "What if we let them capture us?" Everyone turned to look at him. "It's like a Trojan horse," he explained. "If we shut down most systems and appear dead in space, they might bring us in for harvesting. They'd take us right to where we need to be." "That's insanely dangerous," Alan said. "If they start breaking us apart before we can activate the pulse, we're finished." "It's also our best chance," Ella said slowly. "But I won't risk the entire crew." She stood up straight. "I'll take a small team of volunteers. The rest of you will take the escape pods to the edge of the nebula and wait." Her officers immediately protested. "You'll need me to operate the pulse," Alan insisted. "And I understand their biology best," Olivia added. Sam nodded. "I need to monitor their communications." Ella looked at her loyal officers. "I can't ask you to sacrifice yourselves." "You're not asking," Sam said simply. "We're volunteering." Later, as crew members prepared the escape pods, Ella wrote a final message to Earth. She explained their plan and included all the data they had gathered about the swarm. The message would be carried by the escape pods, programmed to launch toward Earth if the Defiant didn't return in 3 days. Ella looked around the bridge, now staffed by just 20 volunteers. The skeleton crew that would risk everything. "Set course for the heart of the swarm," she ordered. "It's time to end this." The U.S. Defiant drifted out of the nebula, looking like a wounded animal. Most of its systems were shut down. Only life support and minimal power remained active. Inside, the 20 volunteers waited in darkness. "All escape pods away," Sam reported quietly. "The rest of the crew is clear." Ella nodded. Their plan was in motion. The remaining crew had spread throughout the ship. Ella, Sam, Alan, and Dr. Bennett stayed on the bridge, watching through minimal sensors as the swarm detected them. "They're coming," Sam whispered. Small scout ships approached first, circling the Defiant like sharks. The humans remained still and silent. Then larger ships arrived. One extended a glowing beam that locked onto the Defiant. "They're scanning us," Dr. Bennett said. "Stay calm," Ella replied. "Remember, we look dead in space, just a disabled ship." Minutes passed. The tension grew. Then suddenly, the Defiant began to move, pulled by an invisible force toward the center of the swarm fleet. "They took the bait," Alan said. "They're bringing us in." Through the viewports, the crew saw the true size of the alien armada for the first time. Ships stretched in every direction as far as they could see. There were hundreds of thousands, maybe more. Ships of every size, from small fighters to massive carriers, all moving in perfect coordination. "Look at them all," Sam said, his voice filled with awe and fear. "How can one ship stop so many?" "We don't need to stop them all," Ella replied. "Just the ones in command." The Defiant was pulled deeper into the fleet. The journey took hours. Ella used the time to check in with her small crew scattered throughout the ship. Everyone was in position. Alan made final adjustments to the quantum disruptor. "It's done," he told Ella. But I have to warn you again. This device is untested. The pulse it creates might destroy the Defiant too. Understood, Ella said. Is there any way to trigger it remotely? Alan shook his head. No, someone has to be at the core to activate it manually. Ella was quiet for a moment. Then that will be my job. Alan started to protest, but Ella stopped him. That's an order, Chief Engineer. Finally, the Defiant was brought to the center of the fleet. Through the viewports, they saw them, the 5 command ships. They were massive, at least 10 times the size of the Defiant. Unlike the other ships, these had a distinct organic appearance. They pulsed with light and energy, looking almost like giant brains floating in space. Those are the control centers, Dr. Bennett confirmed, checking her readings. I can detect massive communication signals coming from them. How close do we need to be? Ella asked Alan. We're close enough now, he replied. But once we activate the quantum disruptor, they'll know something's wrong. We'll only have seconds before they attack. Sam looked at his console. Commander, I'm detecting movement. They're preparing to bring us into one of the command ships, probably to break us down for materials. Ella made her decision. We need to act now. Sam, prepare a course that will take us directly into the central command ship. A collision course? Sam asked, surprised. Yes, Ella replied. The pulse will be strongest on impact. It's our best chance. The crew fell silent as they realized what this meant. I'm not ordering anyone to stay aboard for this final part, Ella said. There are still a few escape pods. Use them now if you wish. No one moved. The ship's eye calculates our survival chance at less than 1%, Sam said quietly. Ella nodded. 1% is still a chance. She stood and faced her brave crew. Sam, send a message to all hands. Prepare for emergency maneuvers. Alan, get ready to activate the quantum disruptor on my command. Ella took her seat and gripped the armrests. Let's show the swarm what one human ship can do. Alarms blared throughout the U.S. Defiant. The ship's engines roared to life, surprising the swarm ships that had been pulling them toward the command center. Full power to engines. Ella ordered. Set collision course. The Defiant broke free from the tractor beam and surged forward. Instantly, the swarm ships reacted. Weapons fire struck the Defiant from all sides. The ship shook violently. Shields failing, Sam reported. Hull breaches on decks 3 and 4. Ella gripped her chair. Stay on course. How long until impact? 2 minutes, Sam answered. In engineering, Alan worked frantically on the quantum disruptor. Dr. Bennett joined him, helping to make final adjustments. The frequency is set, Alan said. It should disrupt both their mechanical systems and biological components. Olivia studied her datapad. Wait, I have an idea. She began typing quickly. The swarm fears individual thought. It breaks their unity. What if we don't just send a disruptive pulse, but something more? Like what? Alan asked. Human creativity. Music, art, literature. Things that celebrate individuality. Alan's eyes widened. We could include it in the pulse. A humanity virus. They worked quickly to modify the disruptor, adding a data stream from the ship's cultural database. On the bridge, Ella opened the ship-wide communication system. All hands, secure yourselves for impact. Whatever happens next, know that your courage has given Earth a fighting chance. The ship rocked again as more weapons fire hit. A support beam crashed down, narrowly missing Ella. 90 seconds to impact, Sam called out. Crew members throughout the ship shared brief, meaningful glances. Some held hands. Others checked weapons or equipment one last time. In a quiet corner, a young crew member wrote a final message to her family. In the medical bay, the doctor treated the wounded while telling jokes to keep spirits up. In the engine room, engineers sang an old space song as they worked. Hull integrity at 30%, Sam reported. We're losing atmosphere in multiple sections. Ella nodded. Reroute power from life support to engines. We need to make it to that command ship. The Defiant pushed forward, trailing debris and leaking air. The massive command ship grew larger in their viewports. It pulsed with alien energy, looking like a giant heart at the center of the swarm. 60 seconds to impact, Sam announced. Alan's voice came over the comm. Commander, the quantum disruptor is ready, but I need to stay here to manually activate it at the right moment. Understood, Ella replied. Then she made a difficult decision. Sam, get to the last escape pod. Take Dr. Bennett with you. Sam shook his head. Commander, I'm not leaving. That's an order, Lieutenant. Someone needs to survive to tell Earth what happened here, to warn them if we fail. Sam hesitated, then nodded. Yes, Commander. He left his station, gathering Dr. Bennett on the way to the last escape pod. 30 seconds to impact, the ship's computer announced. Alan's voice came through again. Commander, you should get to the escape pod too. Not a chance, Alan, Ella replied. Someone needs to fly this ship right into the heart of that command vessel. The ship's damage was severe now. Fire broke out on several decks. Emergency systems struggled to keep up. 20 seconds. Ella watched as the last escape pod launched, carrying Sam and Dr. Bennett. She smiled slightly, knowing at least some of her crew might survive. 10 seconds. Alan spoke one last time. It's been an honor, Commander. Likewise, Alan, Ella replied. Let's show them what humans are made of. Ella gripped the manual controls, making small adjustments to ensure the Defiant would hit the exact center of the command ship. As the distance closed, she thought of Earth, of home, of everyone she had ever loved. 5 seconds. The command ship filled the view screen now. Ella could see its strange, organic patterns, pulsing with light. 3. She took a deep breath. 2. Ella whispered, for Earth. 1. The U.S. Defiant crashed into the central command ship with tremendous force. The impact tore through the alien vessel's outer layers. Deep inside the Defiant, Alan activated the quantum disruptor just before the collision. A blinding pulse of energy erupted from the human ship, flowing into the command ship and beyond. From their escape pod, Sam and Dr. Bennett watched in awe. The command ship seemed to freeze for a moment. Then waves of blue-white energy spread outward from the point of impact, washing over nearby swarm ships. It's working, Olivia whispered. The pulse is spreading through their network. The effect was immediate and stunning. Swarm ships nearest to the command vessel began to drift aimlessly. Others fired weapons randomly or crashed into each other. The perfect coordination that made the swarm so dangerous was breaking down. Inside the second command ship, confusion spread. The central consciousness that controlled the swarm felt something it had never experienced before: disconnection. The quantum pulse disrupted the signals between ships. But more than that, the human creativity embedded in the pulse, music, stories, art, introduced the concept of individuality to a mind that only understood unity. The effect spread like a virus from ship to ship. The hive mind fractured into thousands, then millions of separate thoughts. Some swarm ships simply shut down. Others, suddenly operating with independent minds, attacked ships they had once worked alongside. Look, Sam pointed as the second command ship began firing on the third. They're fighting each other. The escape pod drifted further away, its small engines pushing it toward the edge of the battle. Sam and Olivia watched as the massive alien fleet tore itself apart. Ella did it, Sam said quietly. They all did. The destruction continued for hours. By the time the chaos settled, nearly 80% of the swarm fleet was destroyed or disabled. The remaining ships, now operating individually, retreated in different directions, no longer a unified force. Sam piloted the escape pod to the rendezvous point where the other crew members waited. Together, they began the long journey back to Earth. 3 months later, A memorial service was held on Earth. The full crew of the U.S. Defiant was honored for their sacrifice. Humanity now knew about the alien threat and prepared defenses in case the remaining swarm ships ever returned. Sam, now promoted to commander, stood at the podium before a large crowd. The crew of the Defiant faced odds that seemed impossible. One ship against 800,000. Yet they proved that courage, creativity, and the human spirit can overcome any challenge. Dr. Bennett joined him at the podium. We continue to study the swarm technology we brought back. We've learned that their ships were partly biological, sharing one consciousness. Our quantum pulse broke that connection and introduced them to individual thought. After the ceremony, Sam returned to his new post at Earth Defense Command. A junior officer rushed up to him with excitement. "Commander, we're picking up a transmission from deep space. It's using a modified version of our own communication protocols." Sam hurried to the communication center. The message was faint but clear. "This is new thought, gratitude, peace." Sam stared at the screen in shock. "Can you trace it?" "It's coming from what appears to be a small group of former swarm ships at the edge of our solar system." More messages followed. They were strange, almost childlike, as if coming from minds newly born. The former swarm units described their transformation, how the pulse had freed them from the collective, how human creativity had taught them about individual thought. The final message stunned everyone. "Ella Rogers, lives, in us." Sam turned to Dr. Bennett in amazement. Somehow, when the pulse merged with the command ship, parts of Ella's consciousness were absorbed into their network. Olivia nodded slowly. She became the seed of individuality now growing among the transformed swarm. As Earth cautiously established contact with these new beings, Sam often looked at the stars and smiled. Ella's final log entry had become their first message to humanity. Never underestimate what one ship and one crew can do when everything they love is at stake.